In 2022, we had the biggest set of rules and regulation changes that we have seen since 2014. It has changed racing for the better, allowing cars to follow a lot more closely in the races, which allow overtakes to happen more frequently. However, with these brand new cars comes new challenges and little things that need changing to make the sport a better place. Some of these changes are either to make the racing even better, or in most cases, it's just for the safety of the drivers. The FIA every single season has been making the sport safer and safer, and from every accident that we've had in the sport, such as the Romain Grosjean crash in 2020, there is something that the FIA can learn and improve the safety of the sport from it. 2022 was no different, and we have learnt a lot too. In today's video, we are going to take a deep dive into some of the rule changes that will come into place in 2023. The biggest issue that came directly from the new regulations introduced was the issue of the porpoising. You probably already know about this, but if you don't, basically it means that when the car will be going down a straight, it would look like that the car was bouncing. This was due to the new regulations on the floor and ground effects that came into place. Now, the issue was talked about a lot. It not only hurt the performance of the car on the straights, but it also was a safety hazard for the teams who had this extreme bouncing, especially Mercedes. Both of their drivers in George Russell and Lewis Hamilton on several occasions complained about how much pain they were in after the race, and Hamilton physically saw this in Baku, where he struggled to get out of the car due to his back pain. You may be wondering, is this an actual health hazard? Well, yes, of course. The spine will be bouncing up and down at speeds up to 300 kilometers an hour, so it obviously caused pains, but also long-term damage to the drivers. To try and combat this issue, the FIA has controversially announced that the floor height will have to be raised by 15 millimeters. It was 25 millimeters, but some pushback from the teams meant that this had to be changed. One team in particular, Red Bull, were angry with this as they were the only team who did not suffer from this bouncing, and they believed that the teams should all find a way to fix this issue out of their cars. However, the FIA believe that this is a major health risk, and hence they are bringing in this new rule that will first come into place from the start of the 2023 season. Will this solve the porpoising issue? Guess we'll have to wait and find out. Not long to Bahrain, eh? Another change that is set to come in place for the 2023 season is a big safety change around the roll hoop. This is down to the massive first lap crash that Zhou Guanyu had on the first lap of the British Grand Prix. You've probably seen the pictures of it, but he would flip upside down and the roll hoop failed, caused him to slide on the gravel and spin and hit the catch fence. This was something that the FIA had to investigate, as we talked about earlier, and they did find out that the roll hoop had failed and needed to be changed for the 2023 season. So that is safer for the drivers going forward. The roll hoop has been made a lot stronger and more stable, so that when the car does flip, it does not just dig into the ground as it did for Zhou's case. We hope that a crash like this does not happen again, but if it does, it's fair to say that the roll hoop should not fail once again. A further safety change that is set to come into play in the 2023 season is the increase in the size of the wing mirrors that are on the cars. Due to the increase in tyre size, many drivers have complained about them not being able to see the people around them, but also it's been hard for them to see the white line to know where the track limits are. This was seen a lot in Austria last year, with several drivers getting time penalties due to them going over the white line too many times because they simply just could not see it. So, to combat both of these issues, the FIA has made the mirror much bigger, so this should stop more silly collisions from happening, but also so drivers can see their surroundings a lot easier. As these have been tested with several teams in practice sessions, it is clear that they have talked to the drivers and seen their feedback, and this is a very welcome change from the drivers, which for sure is a change. Now, not really a rule change, but in 2023 we will be seeing 6 sprint races compared to the 3 that we saw in both 2021 and 2022. Sprint races are loved and hated by the fans, but they do give us more racing action which any fan can love. Yes, it is very unusual to have the qualifying on the Friday, but we get to see races which provide action on the action, and this was especially shown in Brazil last season. They just need to be on the right track. The 6 sprints will be at Baku, Austria, Spa, Qatar, Championship of the Americas and Brazil. Now, this announcement has come as a surprise for many, as tracks like Spa are very long tracks and there's sometimes a lack of overtaking. It may be one of the most historic tracks on the calendar, but is it good for a sprint? We are not too sure, but let's leave it to you now. What do you think about them being 6 sprints next season? Will it be better for the sport, or do you think that they have no place in the sport? Let us know in the comments below. One big talking point at the back end of the 2022 season was the cost cap drama that Red Bull got themselves in. We will not explain the whole drama, as we have made several videos about it, so please go back and make sure to watch them as well. But on to 2023, there will be a further reduction to $135 million a year for each team, which is a $5 million reduction from 2022. Now, that may not sound a lot because it can be easily broken by small margins, and this was done by Red Bull, who of course broke it in 2021. But a few million if that, so it will be a struggle for the top teams to stay within this limit, but it is there to make sure that the sport is fairer for the bottom teams to try and get to the top, as everyone has the same maximum amount of money that they can spend, compared to 2022, where Mercedes was rumoured to have spent over $200 million and teams like Haas just could not compete with that at all. So this is a welcome change for the teams at the bottom of the grid, but for the big teams like Mercedes, Red Bull and Ferrari, it will be very difficult for them to limit their spending. Overall, it's pretty fair to say that these rule changes and additions to the sport will really help it going forward. Ever since the death of the talented young driver Jules Bianchi, the FIA has made its #1 priority to put driver safety over anything else, and the Halo really was one of the best additions in the history of the sport, and it has saved several lives. Every year now we see some sort of improvement in safety, and 2023 will be no different, with the better roll hoops and an increase in the wing mirrors. It is something that we fans will want to be added, but of course the drivers who go out on a weekend and put their lives at risk every time they step into the car. But it's not just safety changes we will see. Changes to the format of the weekend, to the cost cap, which changes the sport for the better. We all want a more competitive sport, and closer racing is what the 2020 regulations seem to have brought in, and year after year we will see difficulties that will still need fixing. Still, overall, these changes were not going to be perfect, but the FIA seem like they have fixed everything for now. Are you excited about these new changes that will come into 2023? As we get closer to the start of the season, more and more news is coming out, and we will make sure to keep you updated with any news that comes from the teams. We cannot wait until the lights go out in Bahrain. Thank you very much for watching this video, and make sure that you like and hit that subscribe button to watch more videos just like this one.